was an interesting moment for me because I really wasn't seeking someone or anyone, I should say. I just hoped if I did meet someone that they would be a positive person to meet. Everything he was saying and doing was making me fall in love with him.
Custody. A lot of people quit going, that's just how it got to be. But she keeps on fighting and it takes a lot of guts. No justice, no peace!
You two are like two immature cartoon characters.
Objection. Where's any of this evidence of this?
Order! I'm sanctioning you for $15,000.
I have a right to see my son.
This is all about a child. A poor boy born into a battle. Even with your lies, I gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive. This is not justice! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No justice!
You're trying to have a judge removed.
I'll sanction her for thousands of dollars for coming to court.
How much money is Mr. K-Man, Mr. E paying you and your fellow judges to keep this woman away from her child?
Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I've gotta survive, gonna survive. Said I gotta survive, I'm gonna survive. Even with your lies.
Welcome to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Well, we're coming live. Woo! Oh, yeah. Yes. So you already know I have to thank God. Thank you, God, for getting me up this morning and be able to do this show and be able to say I love you to my loved ones. So I have to say that because you know what? I do not want to take a day for granted. Bad and good. I have to find the good in that day. And I have to deal with it. And it's not always bad because it's a day that I'm able to do something. Don't know always what that something is, but it is something. So I have to give praise to that. And just for everyone too, be grateful for whatever it is that you got up to do. And I always got to say that because gratitude is very important. I know we always think that, getting up is a given. It's really not. I mean, we just don't know what we're going to have. If we're going to feel sick or something's going to happen. We don't know what one's going through. And including myself, like I told you, I'm a human being just like everyone. And I go through things. And how do I deal with it? Sharon's caring and I have to talk about it, just like you guys. And holding that in is not healthy because, that could be explosive one day. And why do I want to do that to myself? So that's part of my self-care. People always say, you tell your business, you share your business. But you know what? It's therapeutic for me because that's how I'm feeling. And I think that I'll be causing more harm to myself if I don't let it out. And as a psychologist, that's important because I can't teach that or preach that if I'm not going to take my own advice. And I think that's important. I know that's important. And so I want to let everybody know if you're going through something, let it out, talk about it to somebody. And I'm always going to say you can get counseling. And sometimes it's good to talk to your friends, but sometimes your friends don't always know how to help you. But if you're just venting, that's great. And you're not looking for them to fix your problem. That's all right. Do it. Let it out because that's what you're feeling internally. And you have to because that's part of self-care. And taking care of yourself is very important. It's not a selfish act. It's an important act. Mental health is real, people, no matter how you look at it. And I have to relate to that because even being a psychologist, I'm a person first. And knowing that I go through things, I would love to put a show on. I'm an actress. Yes, I could do that very well. But what happens when the lights go out? When the cameras go down? I'm here. And that's what I could say. I'm right here with me, myself, and I. So if I don't take care of me, myself, and I can't expect nobody else to. And if anyone is going through something, like I always tell you, you can reach out to me on the drmeleekaclary.com. That's my website. You can email me. You can find me. I'm not hiding, people. If I can't help you, I will try to find the resources to help you. I utilize my platform to help individuals have a better day and to deal with your situation, what that may be, or maybe you can get something out. My platform is informative for you, and I want you to always remember that. So let me give some acknowledgments too. Thank you for my fans. Thank you for seeing the Dr. Meleeka Clary show and tuning in. I love you so much. I appreciate you all. And Three Corners Deception movie is still available on Prime Video. Please go check it out because that is what started me to go ahead and express myself. That was my let go. And it's a movie, but it's also based on true events and something I've been through. And it was hard for me to do that movie, believe it or not. I mean, I was taught not really sharing your business, but sometimes you have to do it if you want change. And I need change. And I think a lot of people want to see change. And especially when we're going through these trying days, we don't know which way to go. We don't know what is going on with our world here because there's many emotions are just flying around and we don't know how to deal with it. So if you are that person, try to get some help because it's maybe there's things you can't do. Like you can't make the decision. You can't, it's out of your control as a human being. I get it. But voicing how you feel in a positive way and just letting it go is better than doing nothing. And that is something I'm always going to highlight. It is better than doing nothing, people, because you need to do something because that will help you. So we all need change, but we all need to fight the negativity with positivity. And that's something that we have to master. Because it's easy to be negative. It's easy to be down and out. That is, you don't need no help to do that. We know that. But it's hard to be positive. And it's hard to do that. But I ask you to try because I try to. And I really do try hard. So with that being said, we're going to take a brief commercial and we will be right back with my amazing guest. He's been on my show numerous of times. He's my mentor. I feed off his energy. I feed off his theories and just his knowledge. So don't go nowhere, fam. We'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Hello, all. Three Corners of Deception movie is now available on Prime Video. How about that? October 14, 2023, on my 50th birthday, I am going to release this, and you guys can go ahead and help me do just that. Go see that movie. Thank you for all the support and not giving up on me. Go see that Three Corners of Deception. Release me from all the pain and everything I've been through. Go see the movie. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for all of the support. Go see that movie. Prime Video. Prime Video. How about that? God bless you all. I love you all. It was really hard for me to do that movie sometime because at that time, because 10 years ago is what I went through. It wasn't then. So I had to take, even they say you play yourself. It's not really always easy to play yourself. You have to play yourself 10 years ago when your mind was discombobulated and you felt betrayed. You know what I mean? You felt like, life was just not it. And, not in my situation. And it is based on true events. And, unfortunately, it's about judicial deception, but it's also about romance and drama and divorce. It's something that just went to a different way. But as I changed it and went into a movie. But what's interesting about this situation, people don't understand. It's a flow technique for me. That was my release to finish this movie. Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Welcome in live. Woo. Before we went on break, I was just also going to tell you, please keep on following me on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, where else? The Dr. Meleeka Clary group, Google. I think I said TikTok, Instagram, X, Snapchat, LinkedIn. Yes. Oh, thank you for all of your support. Keep on sharing what I sent out there. I really appreciate you all. And just Google me. So I really appreciate the love. Thank you so much. Please, we need change in this world. And how we do that is sharing is caring. So thank you for the support, everyone. Everyone. May God bless you all. Yeah, I do want to give a shout out to Mr. and Mrs. Johnson, my marketing team. This is cards, and I don't know if you could see that very clearly, but it's part of my marketing team. And they sent me Connect the Hearts by its relational company, Connect the Hearts. These are cards that if you have a difficult time, with your mate, spouse, partner, whoever, having topics to talk about. These are cards that you can develop a conversation, and I'm actually going to use this. And they gave me this as a gift, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Kuma, your family. Thank you, wifey. I appreciate you guys. I love it. I just got it, and I would love for people to go ahead and look them up. Kuma Johnson. He is my marketing team, and they developed these cards. They've been married for a while now. I think maybe over 10 years, and they realized that this is important for relationships to have topics to talk about, because after you've been around with each other for so long, you probably don't have a lot to talk about sometime. This is a startup. This is a game changer. So I like that. I love this. So please check that out. And he's on Instagram, so you can go ahead. KLM Media. So yes, check that out. All right. With that being said, Mr. Dr. Grant. He has been on my show numerous of times. He is my mentor. I work with him. He teaches me so many things about psychology. He has over 50 something years of experience. And we talk about a lot of things, but we don't just talk about them, we also relate them to us, ourselves as well. Being psychologists and doctor in that psychology area, we are human beings, so we go through things. But we're going to talk about some topics that I think a lot of people should know, because I even go through them myself. But like I said, I always listen to advice and listen to what somebody else has to say too, and especially from Dr. Grant, because he's so knowledgeable. So come on in, fam, and let me go and walk on my handsome, my mentor, Dr. Grant. How you doing, Dr. Grant?
It's a good day.
Oh, well, you look great. You know what? I have to say, I am so pleased and so happy to see you all the time. I know you got over a sickness not too long ago, so I'm glad you got over that and you're healthy, because I missed you so much. So I really, really want to say that to you so many times, that I appreciate everything about you. You have a fan right here, right here. Okay? I'm telling you that. So I want to say that to you. Dr. Grant, we talk about a lot of things on my platform. And the reason why we talk about these things, because we want to help people live a better life and things that they go through. And I know I go through certain things too. I have three children, well, two adults and one teenager. But you know what? Here's the thing I noticed, and this could be for me, a auntie, a uncle, a stepfather, a stepmother, a mother, a father, anyone. What do you do when you have, like, and I know there's certain things we can do, the adolescent stage. And when we talk about the adolescent stage, power struggles, when a teenager is trying to overpower you, and that is, I know that's a developing stage for them, but what are some helpful tips? And if you could talk about if it's a difference between genders, like males or females. But I want to say adolescents are adolescents and they are going to test you. And sometimes people don't understand that, hey, we have to set boundaries for these teenagers because they are getting to that age that adulthood is 18 in America. We consider 18 is adult age and you could do whatever you want to do, and you got teenagers that know that at 16 or 17, and they're like, well, I'm going to be adult soon. I don't have to listen to you. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. But here's a power struggle when they're still not quite adult yet. What kind of situations, if you are trying to tell your adolescent, hey, you can't do that, and you're literally talking over each other and you're trying to calm down your adolescent, but it's a power struggle because they want to be heard and you want to be heard. What are some helpful tips to deal with just a power struggle?
Well, two or three things come to mind. One is that both of you have a right to be heard, and then there comes a point where you have a right to not hear. But that comes after everybody has had a chance to say what they have to say. You know, I was thinking that one of the simplest ways I tried to set a boundary when I was raising adolescents, I had three daughters, was one day at least one or two of them were in the car and there was some discussion of their relationship with boys going on. When I said, I'm never going to live with an infant again, which of course was a suggestion about a boundary regarding their sexual behavior and the
Yes.
potential consequences thereof. And that was never challenged, praise the Lord. Uh,
Hmm.
and that's if that's the kind of explicit stance a parent does need to take that's not presented as negotiable, but also doesn't make demands. Um, and there, of course, it's part of the union rules for being a kid that you're going to try to gain power. Uh, and you're going to see kind of what the limits are of the power that you can get. Um, and that's going to involve some testing where the boundaries are, what's reliable about those boundaries, where can I sneak something through. Um, and my typical advice to parents about that is pick your battles and don't pick any battles you can't win. Uh, and then when you've decided to win a battle, make darn sure you do. Uh,
Hmm.
it's it's very damaging to a relationship with an adolescent to be engaged in a battle and you lose as a parent because it encourages the next battle. Uh, but some battles aren't worth fighting. Um,
Hmm.
you know, I don't have to like what music you like to be able to let you listen to it. I may have to
Exactly.
like the may have to like the volume you're going to listen to it at, and that's a battle I can win. Um,
Hmm. That's a good point. You know what? We're going to come back to that. And because, like I said, you're like, pick your battles, what you can win, what you can't win, and what's worth to even have a discussion about. You know what? And on that note, we are going to take a brief commercial. We'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go nowhere, fam. We'll be right back with the amazing Dr. Grant. It was because of me having a voice and saying something about what had happened to me, because I can't believe it. I can't believe that these individuals put their good name and their reputation on the line just to hurt somebody because they spoke up. Yes, see, that's what happens when you speak up. I get it, but I'm not fearful because of that. Even though I went through a lot and still go through a lot of things, I got God on my side, and I feel like if that is not enough, then I don't know what it is, because I'm still standing and I'm still telling my story, and I'm gonna keep on telling stories, and that is why I like film, because film, you'll be able to express things that you went through and experiences and people. You'll be amazed what you can do. I'm a human being, but I'm not perfect. And I have my own flaws, but I'm working in progress. And if you're trying to change something, you're able to do it. You have the power, you have the key to your own success. And with that being said, I'm just glad that I'm able to do this and share other people's testimonies. And I'm so glad that there's many guests that I've already had on the show that have expressed their, challenges or what they've been going through or went through in their life. And I say that is because they're not perfect. So it's good that they express that.
Mike Zorek, a three-time California state champion in Greco-Roman wrestling at 114 pounds. Mike, blind since birth, was born in Hartford, Connecticut. He was a six-time national placer, including 2 seconds, 2/3, and 2/4. He also won the Veterans Folk-Style Wrestling twice at 152 pounds. In all these tournaments, he was the only blind competitor. Nancy Zorek, a creative spirit whose talents have taken her to the stage and into galleries and exhibitions in several states. Her father, a commercial artist who shared his instruments with his daughter and helped her fine-tune her natural abilities, influenced her decision to follow in his footsteps. Ms. Zorek has enjoyed a fruitful career doing what she loves. Listen Saturday mornings at 12 Eastern for the Nancy and Mike Show for heartwarming stories and interesting talk on the BBM Global Network. Dr. RC will share extraordinary resources and services that promote educational success, as well as making a difference in the lives of all social workers, as well as the lives of children, adolescents, and teens of today. She will have open discussions addressing many of the issues that we face about our youth and how being employed in the uniquely skilled profession of social work for over 18 years has taught invaluable lessons through her personal experiences. She will also provide real-life facts, examples, and personal stories that will confirm that why serving as a child advocate is extremely beneficial when addressing the needs of the whole child. Listen live to Dare to Soar, Saturdays 10 a.m. Eastern on the BBM Global Network, and tune in radio as Dr. RC will provide thought-provoking information that will empower, encourage, and strengthen students, families, and communities across our nation. You can also visit her at soarwithkatie.com.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network, where we're coming live. We are still with the amazing Dr. Grant. Come on, Dr. Grant. Hey.
Didn't go nowhere.
Well, I'm glad you didn't. Before we went, we was talking about power struggles and pick and choose what battles you want to discuss. And you brought up a really valid point, because when we talk about music, I remember my adult children now, my daughters, what kind of music I didn't want them to listen to. And they actually follow that in their life. They don't really like a lot of cussing, so they don't really do that. But I really didn't like that in the house. I'm like, can you find something that was more calming? Does it make you upset and want to do something in this world towards a negative? And I know that was kind of like one of my daughters. She's into a lot of other stuff, kind of music. And my other daughter, I don't have to really worry about her, but she likes certain musics I agree with. But it was always like a back and forth. But I noticed that my other daughter, she does play that kind of music. And now she got some music that's out there that's more raunchy than others. And frankly, my dear, as being an adult, I kind of like some of that music too. But as a young kid, I was just like, no, I don't think you should be listening to the bump and grind exactly. And so it was just like, okay. So we didn't really have that issue and as much, but I remember talking about that. And I know my son, I know he likes certain music, but it's weird. He likes old, really old music, but he also likes some other type of music that has a little swearing stuff and all that stuff. And so we've been through that. But in the house, I kind of like set the stage that just don't play something that's that harsh. I mean, I know if it got a good beat, I'm even, because I used to choreograph for many years, so I love music, and it doesn't matter what kind of music. But when it becomes that real, you know, move bitch type of thing, I'm just like, I don't know if I want to hear that all day. That's something that I just, I don't like that type of music like that. I mean, and it doesn't put me in a good space. And I can imagine when some children are listening to it, they might, feel kind of like amped up. You ever be around somebody, you're driving
Hmm.
and they're listening to some real hardcore music, they feel like they're ready to fight the world. And that's okay. That's your right to listen to whatever, but it is a power struggle sometimes when you're in the house and you just don't want to hear that as a parent, and you're just like, okay, play that on another time. So that is something I can relate to. And I noticed that, I also had that kind of conversation with my daughters, and thank God they didn't bring any infants in the world too early either. I'm not a grandmother. And don't get me wrong, they're old enough probably that, if they want to go have children, they can. But
Right.
I know I wasn't trying to hear it. I was one of them parents was like, are you doing something? You know what I mean? And sometimes I didn't want to hear it, but I allowed myself to hear it, because if they're not going to talk to me, they'll talk to somebody else. And at least I could give them advice to say, hey, do you really want to do that? Because, sometimes decision could be a permanent situation for the rest of your life. So we had those. But I think for me, with when I talk about power struggle and we talk about the genders, do you see, and I know you said you have daughters, do you know or had any experience with maybe a power struggle with a boy? Because I know that with my son, I want to say it's different in how my reaction towards the boy, because they get older, but I mean bigger and more masculine and stronger. And for me to be a woman, I have to, put my foot down and let them know these are the boundaries. I'm your mom, but there's things that you shouldn't do, or you shouldn't say. And I don't know if that's more of a power struggle, but also intimidation. So what do you say about, because there's aunties and some uncles that might be going through the same, even the fathers. And I know the fathers could be strong and they could probably deal with the boy, but it might be some single parents out there that might feel like this is intimidating, and you know what I mean?
Hmm. Well, several thoughts come to mind. You know, a lot of the research that's been done about situations that leave single parents raising boys, and most of those single parents, of course, are women, uh, is that boys who don't have a father at hand are usually pretty angry about it and very often blame their mothers for their not having a father at hand without much consideration of what things were like between the mother and the father. Uh, and the outcome statistics are not pleasant for boys raised in that situation. The, some male who is honored by the mother and who is honorable uh, is a great help to a boy's growing up. Now, as said, I don't have sons, I have grandsons, and I certainly have clients who have been sons, and I suppose they still are, but they're no longer adolescent. So I hear a lot about how that goes. And the thing that struck me most strongly about that in relation to one of my grandsons is how much better a student he became after his mother stopped looking over his shoulder about whether he was doing his homework. That that there was the need for there being a space over which he was sovereign, and it had to do with helping build his own future. Now, so between being a sophomore and a junior in high school, he sort of woke up, and when she was no longer kind of taking it as her responsibility to make him be a student, he took it on, and he's about to go off to college and has done extremely well in the last, you know, 2 years of school. And it probably wouldn't have happened if she had kept kind of trying to be inside his skin, deciding for him, when to get a tutor, when to study this, when to do his homework, etc., etc. I, I know what, I'm thinking of one particular client I have who's now, 50 years old, but it had a terrible, terrible adolescence. And part of what made it terrible was the parental attempt to comply or to compel um, taking on certain political or religious attitudes. Like this, this man was raised in a home where there was a pretty strict religious orthodoxy of a kind that he came to despise. And as it became more pronounced and intense, his choices to show how much he hated it increased, which led to some pretty nasty, violent behavior. Um, so there does have to be the kind of listening that a parent does that lets them know, okay, what are the consequences as a parent of my trying to manage this boy in a way that doesn't take into account any of his priorities in life. Doesn't necessarily mean to agree with them, but it means to take them into account. Because kids who feel unheard keep upping the ante until they're heard.
Yes. Hmm. That makes sense. I mean, but here's the thing too. I mean, because I know as many people are listening. What about the buddy system? You got a parent that is trying to discipline and have rules. Either you do your, clean your room or do your chores or things like that, and then you have another parent. If you're in a situation that you have to deal with a co-parent and they use the buddy system. You could do your homework whenever, you can clean your room whatever, you could do your chores whenever. How do you kind of like, you got one parent that's like, look, I need to show this child who's is an adolescent structure, because if you have a child that has behavior issues, you how do you really force those structure moments? And it's okay to step back, but when you step back, how far do you step back? Do we let our kids fail to a degree that it's like, okay, well, you know what, you make the choice? I mean, is it when is that? Because I know some people, when you get to that age, especially parents, might say, hey, they're independent, they're doing things, they can concentrate on what they want to do now. And because it gets easier, they're not 2 years old, but you got the terrible twos and you got the terrible 16s, but you still got to give them structure. But then the other parent that's giving them structure more so, instead of the buddy parent, is the villain. So how do
Well,
you, yeah.
here's the deal. You know, unquestionably, parents need to be on the same page in terms of what they will enforce, even though no two people agree completely about every aspect of parenting. And, you know, any kid with half a brain is going to figure out what mom prefers or what dad prefers and then try to use it against them. Um,
Exactly.
so if there is not a good arrangement between the parents about how we're going to parent, I'm inclined to just say, well, you're screwed. Uh, that
Yeah.
uh, there ain't no good outcome going to come from that, regardless of how much parent A or parent B tries. Now, what do you do in that situation? Um, you know, I think it's a real strong um, motivator for most kids to have access to the things they want to have access to, whether it's your money, your car, your TV set, uh, the rules of the house. And I think that's one of those where you decide what battles you will not lose because you can always withhold things. Uh, and you can withhold things at the risk of the relationship, but you have to be willing to do that, or the kid will, grow up like a wild Indian or whatever. Uh,
And be
pardon
rebellant. Yeah.
racial
No,
slur there. Uh,
it's okay.
but
Yeah, wild child.
yeah, that.
And I get it. And
Mhm.
I totally agree with that because if you don't have boundaries or structure, yes, and I think it is important to hold back on something. If child is not listening or they want to do whatever, yeah, you take their privileges away. That's the world. There's consequences when you don't do nothing. You're not camouflaging that. If you don't listen to you're driving and you just run the light, you can get an accident. You get a ticket. You can get stopped by, you lose your privileges. There's things that, so you kind of try to help your adolescent understand that I'll take this away. But, and you know what? We're going to take a brief commercial because it's weird. Well, it's not weird, but it's proven that we do have those struggles and those issues with these adolescents, but we also have little manipulators and seize the moment if co-parents aren't connected. And that's something I think is important to highlight. But we will be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network with Dr. Grant, the amazing one. Don't go nowhere. We'll be right back. Hello, all. Three Corners of Deception movie is now available on Prime Video. How about that? October 14, 2023, on my 50th birthday, I am going to release this, and you guys can go ahead and help me do just that. Go see that movie. Thank you for all the support and not giving up on me. Go see that Three Corners of Deception. Release me from all the pain and everything I've been through. Go see the movie. Thank you. I love you all. Thank you for all of the support. Go see that movie. Prime Video. Prime Video. How about that? God bless you all. I love you all. It was really hard for me to do that movie sometime because at that time, because 10 years ago is what I went through. It wasn't then. So I had to take, even they say you play yourself. It's not really always easy to play yourself. You have to play yourself 10 years ago when your mind was discombobulated and you felt betrayed. You know what I mean? You felt like, life was just not it. And, not in my situation. And it is based on true events. And, unfortunately, it's about judicial deception, but it's also about romance and drama and divorce. It's something that just went to a different way. But as I changed it and went into a movie. But what's interesting about this situation, people don't understand. It's a flow technique for me. That was my release to finish this movie. Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. We're coming live. Woo! Welcome back, Dr. Grant. Come on in here.
Okay, here I come. I had something left over from that last segment that I wanted to say.
Okay.
And it had to do with what, in at least my households, was one of the most effective means of controlling adolescent acting out, which was the whole process of grounding. Like, my kids were never more pleasant to be around than when they were grounded. I mean, after that first outrage for a half hour, uh, they kind of got the message that there was some boundaries that we were not going to allow to be exceeded. And then they kind of straighten out and do pretty well for the period of the grounding. And I think that's because that showed them that they could trust that we would not let them go completely off the deep end, and that we would be there as a fence if we needed to, though we hope we didn't need to. That's what I
You know
wanted to
what?
get said.
I appreciate that because I'm similar to that, punishment on a weekend. And during that time, it's to me, I like to tell a child punishment paper. It depends what they did. And I would say, hey, either you lied to me or you didn't listen, write punishment paper, maybe 6 pages. I mean, that to me, and that's the time that they are grounded on punishment for the weekend or for a day or so. I may take the phone for about 6 hours or something like that or for the day. I don't think I ever got through the day though, but that's something I do. I have to say that, but I do that. But see, the only thing about it that I want other parents to understand, and you made it very clear, when you have a co-parent, it doesn't, co-parent. So you're only good as when the child is with you, and then that goes out the
Mhm.
door when the child is with the other parent. And so when it comes to this battle of what parent I want to stay with, what parent I want to be with, there becomes a manipulation because they feed off of the communications that they're not receiving healthy by both co-parents, well, the co-parent. And so it becomes to a point like, well, I can identify what the adolescent's going through because they're being adolescent. But you have another co-parent that sees the moment. And if you take the phone away, another co-parent buys the other child a phone. Like, why would you do that? That's undermining the other parent why the phone was taken or why the phone, you know what I mean? It's kind of
Mhm.
like that. It's like you said, you're kind of screwed because you can't make somebody else do something. And you're trying to set this adolescent not for failure. And you're trying to do the best you can. And this is also, like I said, aunties or, older siblings that took their young
Yeah.
sibling and, and what happens with that situation? You're not my mom. You're not my dad. You know what I mean? And
Hmm.
it's a power struggle there when they try to discipline and say, no, you're grounded, you can't even go anywhere, you're not my mother, you're not my father. But people understand, help your adolescent understand that you are taking the responsibility of that, being the parent, because out of love you're trying to help them. And in the real world out there, you have to have rules. And at the end of the day, if you don't show that, they're going to go out there and do whatever and get into more mischief. And so it's kind of really, it's difficult when you don't have a co-parent helping you out and see the validity of why, hey, this person lied about this person didn't do this, they hung up on another parent, or they did something, didn't listen to a teacher. Well, you know what I mean? It's like, what are you doing? And you can't be a friend. This is not friend time, people. This is supposed to be a parent time. No friend zone. And I think that's where we get disconnects, because I think because these adolescents get so older, we thinking that now we can be their friend, but it's not always the best moment to be a friend. Now I get it, be understanding, but a friend.
Yeah. Couple of things. You're reminding me that it is just as hard to be well divorced as it is to be
Yeah,
well married. Uh,
yeah.
and in relationships that are less formal, it's even harder to be responsibly connected over a child. Uh, However, you know, children, adolescents don't have much of a time sense, but we're supposed to. And
Yes.
we need to remember that the little so and so might hate our guts this week. Uh, but if we are consistent with who we are a resource for them 5 years later or 20
Oh.
years later.
Hmm.
And
Yes.
friendship won't do that. You know, consistency will do that.
You know what? You're absolutely right about that, because I think that's what, as parents, we need to understand that. We see long jeopardy. And at least when I put my foot down, I'm seeing long jeopardy. I explain that to my children when they were young, my daughters, and I try to explain that to also my adolescent. You may hate me right now. I may not be the best person for you at this point, but this is for your best, because when you go out there, they don't really care about that, because the first thing that is mentioned when you do something that has to do with behavior must be the upbringing. You see what I mean? Yeah,
Yeah,
it's always that. I mean, yes, I mean, because have people in my chair, and if I'm doing telehealth or whatever, I'm talking to them. The first thing I say, what happened in the home? We go. That's why we want to know about background. What happened?
sure.
What was loud at the home? And then you'll hear about these divorcees, and this happened in this house, and this happened in this house. But at the end of the day, you have these kids that will manipulate the situation because they know there's a power struggle even with the parents, and they're not communicating, and they just like, well, I'm gonna get away with whatever. I'll just tell this person, and they'll do whatever, just because they have their own animosity with the other parent. And I
Right.
think that is something that parents need to be aware of, instead of realizing, or take yourself out of that situation. But that's so hard to do, because many parents, that's why they divorce. They don't want to take themselves out the situation. And I think my recommendation, and even including myself, is counseling, because I'm always going to push counseling. At this age, you don't want to listen to me, you don't want to hear me, I need to get you counseling. And the other parent may not, but court system has to help, because sometimes they have to be forced to get counseling to see what else is going on, because they're going through something that's also that, if it's boys, high testosterone, being macho, girls I want to, it could be some other boys, and something that they're going through. It's a lot of other things that they may not want to share with the parent. And even if they do share, they may not think that you understand. And so, and it could also be the friction of whatever else is going on over the years that they have been developing this world. And that's the thing that I always have to say, well, if you don't want to listen to me, I think you should, take me out of it and get counseling for the child. And that is also for you aunties and uncles, and whoever's taking a responsibility of an adolescent. You have an option to get that child some help too, and take yourself out the equation, so you don't always have to be the villain. But this is another way of helping your adolescent understand you still care, because if you didn't, you wouldn't do anything, and just let that child do whatever. And don't get me wrong, some people may take that approach, hey, I'm not going to do nothing, let them go, whatever. But I don't see a whole lot of benefits by just letting an adolescent do whatever they want to do, because in that real world, you are not able to do whatever you want to do. There's rules and consequences.
Yeah, and adolescent brains have not developed to the point where they have much of a sense of time.
Exactly.
So
Yep.
the notion that something I do today might have an effect 10 years from now,
That's
you
right.
know, it's just not second nature.
That's
And
right.
so we need to.
Exactly. You hear that? You hear it from us. We need to. And we are sharing and caring, people. We're in the same boat with you. It's just some things that we all have to go through, different stages in life. We have these adolescents. I know it's a lot. It's a lot, but tough love is very important. And if you're doing it by yourself and you don't have that help by a co-parent, seek counseling, speak to teachers, coaches, whoever can be, some type of positive influence with that child, because you don't have to do it alone. And on that note, we're going to take a brief commercial and we'll be right back with the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. Don't go no film. We're still with amazing Dr. Grant.
It was an interesting moment for me at the time because I really wasn't seeking someone or anyone, I should say. I just hoped if I did meet someone that they would be a positive person to meet. Everything he was saying and doing was making me fall in love with him.
Over custody. A lot of people quit going, that's just how it got to be. But she keeps on fighting and it takes a lot of guts. No justice, no peace!
You two are like two immature cartoon characters.
Objection. Where's any of this evidence of this?
Order! I'm sanctioning you for $15,000.
I have a right to see my son.
This is all about a child. A poor boy born into a battle. Even with your lies, I gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive. This is not justice! No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace! No peace! No justice!
You're trying to have a judge removed.
I'll sanction her for thousands of dollars for coming to court.
How much money is Mr. K and Mr. E paying you and your fellow judges to keep this woman away from her child?
Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I'm gonna survive, gotta survive. Said I'm gonna survive, I gotta survive. Even with your lies, I've gotta survive, gonna survive. Said I'm gonna survive, gonna survive. Even with your lies.
Welcome back to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network, where we're coming live. Woo! Come on, Dr. Grant. Come on back in here.
Okay, right here.
Yes. We always run out of time when we're talking about topics that is very dear to me because, like I said, I have adolescents and I've been through it. This is my third time around. And, not just I go through things, but it's always good to hear somebody else's feedback and how they would deal with them. Because, not everybody's perfect and we don't always know. Even though being a psychologist and everything, I'm still a human being. And every child is different. They have different personalities. And so me having, both genders, they operate and act differently. But, you said something that was very valuable to me during break is that, parenting never ends. And one thing is true. You're always going to be a parent till the day you die, and I'm okay with that. But what I can say is that co-parent with the other person, yes, that's up to 18, 19, or however it goes. And I think that's what I'm looking at too. It's like, I don't have to deal with that person. I mean, unless I really have to, but I don't really think so. It's really A and B, me and the adolescent who's an 18-year-old. And I think that you still want to be civil with someone, but if you can't, it's kind of like best to just stay away. And I think that's good for one's health and mental state of mind because I think you pushing a relationship with other people that don't want to have one with you and they haven't for whatever years, there's no need to try now just keep on and try to build that adolescent to a great adult and do as much as you can, as positively if you can, to influence them. Do you have any last notes about that too before we go out there?
Yeah. Well, it's nice to feel like the favorite parent of a kid, but it can be real disastrous to plan your whole strategy around getting that done. Um, and if one feels one is doing that, that's when the parent needs to seek out some help because it's a problem in what they need from the child.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with you on that because I do think that, it doesn't help for the other parent. And the other parent might think they're winning, but you're really not. You're really not winning, because you're setting your kid to fail. And that's because they have their own issues and they need to seek help for that issue. If they have not identified their own issues or been accountable for their own issues, then they're not going to. And no one can force an adult to go and get counseling or therapy. You have to want to and have acknowledgement in that area and accountability for that. But you got some people out here won't do it. No matter what you say, they won't do it.
True.
So, unfortunately,
The fight is too much fun.
ain't that the truth? Fight is too much fun. And I'm not having no more fun. I'm good. I want to have fun somewhere else. Just have fun.
Fair enough.
I'm so good with that. Well, you know what? I'm so glad. Thank you again for sharing and caring, Dr. Grant. I really appreciate you, and I know the fans and people, listening, because this is for you guys, not just for parents. Like I'm telling you, if you are a foster parent, you are a uncle, a auntie, or somebody, a stepfather, stepmother, and you have taking the responsibility of taking care of your adolescent. This is for you too. We're all in the same boat. We're going to do one step at a time. One step at a time, we will deal with our adolescents. It could be done. So thank you, Dr. Grant, for being on Dr. Meleeka Clary's show. And if you're looking for me, you can still find me on Google or on my social medias. Like I said, it was such a pleasure to have you tune in to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. I really appreciate you guys. And I want you to have a wonderful rest of the day. Whatever you're going through, pray about it. I love you. I try to help you. That's why I do this. And helping myself as well, because I'm not alone and you're not alone and we're in it together. One day at a time, one day at a time. That's all I got to say. So enjoy the rest of your day and the weekend to come. God bless you all and take care. And thank you for tuning in again to the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show on the Bold and Brave TV network. God bless. Mwah.
You've been watching the Dr. Meleeka Clary Show. Tune in next week as Dr. Meleeka will help you shift towards a better life. But this show doesn't stop there. She'll provide helpful tips regarding surviving the entertainment industry and the judicial system with practical information. Thursday, 2 p.m. Eastern, here on the Bold Brave TV network.